For the parents, buying a premium family car is a lot like preparing your eldest child. You want them to excel at almost everything, know every necessary life skill, and when in front of others, hold your esteem very well. So essentially, what the parents are looking for is an all-rounder. And speaking of all-rounders, I'm Yash, you're watching the Cornea Impression, and today we have the Honda CR-V to check if this is the ideal eldest child. I mean, if this is the ideal premium family car that you should buy. So the eldest child tends to carry a mountain of expectations on his shoulders. And the same can be said for the ideal premium family car. It needs to have most of the modern day features, have a premium cabin enough to make your neighbors or your relatives jealous, have space enough for your family, be practical for them to go for a weekend getaway without worrying about luggage space, and a powertrain which is powerful yet frugal enough that it doesn't burn a hole in your pocket. So does the CR-V live up to its expectations? Let's break down this expectation mountain peak by peak. Piece by piece. So what we have here is the touring spec of the Honda CR-V, the top of the line version. So everything that you see here is all that you're going to get. So stuff like wireless Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto, 360-degree parking camera, heads-up display, a 9-inch infotainment screen, 3-zone automatic climate control. So all the features you'll require in your daily usage is all well and present. So that's good. Next is the requirement of a premium cabin, which the CR-V sufficiently has so. And how Honda executes it is very simple yet effective. What I mean by that is instead of putting every single worldly control into the touchscreen, which a lot of other car makers do, Honda has decided to put them in buttons and switches. So all the daily use stuff like aircon controls, the cruise control, the volume knobs, it's all button, dials and toggle switches like how they're supposed to be. So you don't have to really learn your way through a Honda cabin. It's basically like just wearing your everyday favorite jeans. It's easy, it's subconsciously fed to your brain, and you can do this every day of the week. Plus, what I liked about Honda's cabin is the finishing. Now, if your relative or your neighbor isn't a car nerd, he or she will be impressed by this wooden inserts on the dashboard and on the door trims and this digital instrument cluster. Now, only if he or she pays attention will he or she realize that this is technically for wood trim, and the speedometer is semi-digital. What I mean by that is only the speedometer is analog, whereas the rest of the thing is digital. But Honda has executed it so seamlessly that everything just looks like part of one single big unit. But is it really spacious enough? In a word, yes, because these wide seats and no transmission tunnel means 3 people can sit sufficiently comfortable in the back. There's panoramic sunroof just over your head, so that makes the cabin feel a bit more airy and more comfortable for the rear passengers. But the taller passengers, the ones over 6 feet, may hit their head on this blind roller system that's here. So for them to have them less agitated with you, just have them turn on the third aircon vent. And because this is essentially a 7-seater, it is my duty to tell you how those last rear seats are. 90-degree door openings, good enough for parents to put their isofix seats onto the middle row. But to get to the last row, Honda has made it pretty easy with 2 simple levers. One at the bottom to slide this entire middle row at the front, and then one on top to basically topple it. Now, spacious or comfortable aren't the words I'll use to describe this last rear row of seats for adults. It's best for the smallest children of the family, ones which have the shortest of legs, and also whom the middle or the eldest children slightly bully. Ouch. Now, if you have these rear seats up, you will be compromising significantly on your weekend luggage space. But if you do want to free up some space, you could easily just put these seats down and free up space for your weekend luggage. And in case you're a parent and you are juggling between one child in one hand and grocery shopping in the other, power tailgate comes to the rescue. When it comes to the exterior design of the Honda CR-V, it's all new. It's no longer, hey, I'm a big bulky SUV. It's more sleeker, more stylish, more sophisticated. It has these slim DRLs and it has that familiar Honda grille that you see on other Honda cars. And the rear is equally as dynamic as the front. You get this Christmas tree pattern on the tail lights with some very sharp graphics. Looks spectacular, to be honest. Overall, the car looks very attractive, and the Honda reliability badge just adds to it and will uphold your esteem when you pull up with this on your driveway. And if the father in the family is a car enthusiast, he would like the addition of twin exhausts, and both are functional vents, by the way. And there are more enthusiast friendly bits inside the car. It gets paddle shifters for the enthusiastic fathers of the family, and the gearbox comes with a sport mode. So let's see if that's any good with a 0 to 100 push. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Takes a while to build up speed. Well, it took some time to reach 100, but we did get there. But that's not the point of the car. It's not about 0 to 100 or registering top speed records. It's more like asking your elder child to go crazy and sloshed at a family party when he's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to be the responsible one, taking care of the younger kids and getting them back home safely. That is the point of the Honda CR-V, a more responsible, family-friendly, mature car. And that's why the steering is quite light, but not too light to be unnerving at triple-digit speeds, and turns in very well. The rides are quite comfortable on highway roads and takes the bumps softly, but is stiff enough to feel planted on triple-digit speeds on arrow straight highway roads. So I recently took a trip to Abu Dhabi for work, and I took the CR-V with me. Now the entire trip was about 300 kilometers up and down, and there are two things that stuck with me about the CR-V. First, my co-passenger really liked this rear blind spot camera system that came up on the infotainment system as soon as I put up the right indicator, and it showed close to like 3 lanes on the highway. Now that's pretty good visibility and just keeps you safer while changing lanes. Now the second thing that stuck with me was Honda's sensing suite of driver assistance features, that is your lane keep assists and your adaptive cruise control. Why I really liked them was most of the features, the buttons for these features are mounted on the steering instead of the column or a stock on the column. So it's just easier to use and easier to engage and disengage. And throughout that 300 kilometer drive, I had that car for most of the time on these systems, and it just worked flawlessly. The car kept me within the lines and below the speed limit because I'm not very fond of paying fines. And because this has the adaptive cruise control rather than the regular cruise control, it just followed the car in front of me. So if the car sped up, I sped up until the speed that I set, and if the car slowed down, I slowed down. And it obviously warned me when there was a car coming in front of me with some emergency lights right on my heads-up display. Throughout this entire tech wizardry process of the car driving by itself, like almost driving by itself, it never really felt alarming. It was not like the car is trying to wrestle me for the controls of the steering wheel. Everything felt very gradual, like almost as if I'm being told that this is supposed to happen, or rather this will happen, so please be mindful of the situation. Pretty neat for a car that wants to be very family friendly. And because the systems work so well, I could make use of my time by just learning lyrics of songs or even podcasts. So I have a hunch the Honda CR-V would be really good for people who like listening to podcasts on their daily commute, or strike a deal with their children on what toys to buy next, because the car can manage itself on longer, boring highways. And speaking of long drives, the Honda CR-V gets just the one engine option in the UAE across all 4 trims. That's a 190 horsepower, 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine paired to a CVT gearbox. Now, usually car makers give out CVTs because they want the car to be more mileage or fuel efficiency centric. Now, if that was the case, they could have gotten in the hybrid powertrain that is available in international markets. So that could have helped more in efficiency and a bit more extra horsepower, because that engine, the international one, comes with a 2-litre engine and comes with the extra more horses. And trust me when I say this engine, or rather this powertrain setup, need more horses. Now, it's pretty hard to find faults in the CRV, but if there's one thing that kinda nagged me a little, that was this infotainment screen, because as soon as I turn on the right indicator, yeah, the navigation is gone. So for newer drivers or people who are new in the city or who are not very accustomed to the roads and the exits, you can't really turn that off. So every time you're about to take a right turn with multiple exits, this thing will just put on the blind spot camera and it'll keep you safe, sure, but it'll get you lost. So, do I like the Honda CR-V overall? Well, it does most of what it's supposed to do really well. It looks spectacular, has all the features you need on a daily basis. It does the boring highway commutes really well thanks to Honda's sensing suite of driver assistant features, has a spacious enough cabin, seating for 5 plus 2 if you can compromise on weekend luggage space, and I forgot it has a 360-degree parking camera in case you're a new car buyer. Prices for the Honda CR-V range between 125 to 160,000 dirhams, and for that price in that segment, the Honda CR-V is one of the ideal premium family cars to buy, or rather the ideal elder child. I'm Yash. Thank you for watching the Cornea Impression. Like, comment, share, subscribe so that we can bring you more such cars like these.